Hi there, you're at the Solana Wyckoff analysis session. So quickly into the weekly chart, we're seeing a leg downwards last week, and this week we are, although we are up, the price has been suppressed below this key level of 180. Currently it's staying at 179, a bit above that. So the volume isn't very high as well. It has dropped significantly over the course of the last 2 weeks. So the bit of selling 2 weeks back in the week of 21st of July is quite significant over there when it tried to break above the blue level of $210. So from here onwards, while we have put in a tag asking the question, is it coming heading to the purple level of 260 and head to an upthrust of the distribution? As of this moment, it's still not very convincing looking at what I described just now, because when it hits or get close to the blue level, the selling was pretty strong. So if that doesn't change, then the chance of getting to an upthrust of the distribution is slimmer. I'm trying to check the current squeeze as well. So as of now, the upper purple line is within the orange already. The other purple line at the bottom is getting close. So if that really happens in next week or the week after, basically within August, that means a chance of a price move that's quite big is going to happen. So it also aligns with this triangle we're seeing here, because we're getting very close to the tip, and for the next 2 weeks it's leaving not much time because it won't get to the end of September before a decision to break outside, or outside of the yellow channel box or to the upside above the light blue level. It has to happen from now till somewhere between early to mid September. So if the consolidation continues and the squeeze, this purple line, comes up to within the orange, then that's the moment for the breakout to happen. So that price move would drive, if it's the upward scenario, it would drive it to test the the blue line once again, the 210 once again, and maybe goes as high as the purple. But if it's the negative scenario, like I said, there's not much volume supporting it to the upside. If it's really the negative scenario, it will break outside of this yellow channel box, and that may mean that the road to the upthrust of the distribution is almost diminished. So we have to see how bad that goes if it really happens, because if it comes down, that means is going to show us another sign of weakness. So let me put a tag over here and see which scenario is more likely by the time we come back next week, because like I said, the breakout is near. So that's the backdrop for the Solana from a high level time scale. If we go deeper into daily, to the micro scale, previously we put in a tag asking, oh, is it coming down to show us a sign of weakness? Indeed it is, and it went lower than this dashed support level. It went very close to this green key level of around $150. So this has been confirmed, so I can remove the question mark. And the thing is, when it gets so deep to this level, is actually entering the accumulation range back in May to July. So from late May or early, well, it is late May, and then all the way till beginning of July, this was the accumulation range, and the sign of weakness this time has dipped into that area. So while the up leg to the buying climax was higher than the previous buying climax, the drop is also deeper than the previous one. Well, actually, they're more or less the same level. If we look at the the sign of weakness over here after the automatic reaction, but because of the higher peak, this one is actually a bigger percentage drop. So it's almost about 25% drop from that level, while the last time it was only 15 to 16%. So does this mean the sentiments of people have changed? So while they are pushing up for a higher price crazily, there are more people selling once it gets to that level. So be very cautious how this cycle ends, because this bounce coming, it may well be an LPSY. While we hope for an upthrust to happen, an upthrust can only happen if this really breaks outside of this light blue key level. Well, this can still happen if the weekly is showing another LPSY. It doesn't mean it can't happen that way, even if the distribution cycle is near its end, even if the path to UTAD is non-existent, it can still have a mini peak, and a mini peak in the weekly will become the upthrust here, like I said, or a high second test that's close to the buying climax level. So that can still happen. However, the key is like it has to break this line. Currently it's still staying below the light blue key level. So just quickly check the counter squeeze as well. It's way beyond squeezing, but it can change very quickly within a matter of a few days. So if the price further consolidates along this light blue line, or between this light blue line and the yellow dashed line, then the consolidation would happen, and a drastic price move, or a bigger price move to the, well, if it stays at that level, it may be more likely towards the downside to test the green than towards the upside to the blue. Let's see where it stays, because you see it's currently staying at the upper half of the orange channel. So if it stays that way when the consolidate or the squeeze happens, the likelihood of it going down is more than it going up. So having said that, we're not there yet. We have climbing volume, but the candlestick body is getting smaller, so it signals that there are a change of hands. So quite a bit of people selling when the price gets close to the key zone, and there are people picking up those stocks as well. So is it the last, like I said, last point of supply that the whales are distributing to the retail players? We'll know very quickly in the next few days, because when that happens, similar to what's in the weekly, this tag I put in here, in the daily, that's also a place for a sign of weakness. So the level would be around the green that I've already mentioned. That's around $150. It's a range, so it can be somewhere between 145 to 150. It depends on how deep this sign of weakness wants to go, because you see here there's one in June that's around that level as well. So right now it's more like it's in a downward channel area rather than an upward. So with the buying climax, the sign of weakness, and the current LPSY peak, it looks to me it is in this downward channel box. So that's why it's receiving so much resistance over here. It's double resistant at this point. Is the upper edge of the channel box, and as well this key level. So it's very difficult to break, but the thing is, when if it trades along this downward channel box, there's a checkpoint over here near next Sunday, basically, very quickly, within 2 weeks time. So it may happen within the middle of the coming week that it has to break outside of this downward channel box. If that happens, that's a good sign for the bears, because that may mean a higher possibility for it to come up to test the buying climax level or show us an upthrust. But if it doesn't, if the demand doesn't catch up and it breaks below the yellow dashed line and test this green and maybe go through just to find support at the bottom edge of this blue box, that means this downward trend is going to continue, and the scenario for or heading to this sign of weakness is more likely. So the bears may profit a bit, while the bulls may have to wait to see whether there will be a stronger rebound from the sign of weakness, getting to a point of an upthrust in the daily time frame. So that means the picture would look like something like this: find support from the bottom edge here in the weekly, and then go up. Then this would be the picture for the upthrust to happen in the daily. It's not easy to visualize, but I try to add it over there, so hopefully that can help you. Let me know in the comment which scenario do you think is more likely. Is this uptrend going to continue and the breakout happen near the end of this month to the upside, or is it more likely by September we'll find ourselves, or find Solana trading somewhere near the 150 range and maybe even lower to 125, heading towards the sign of weakness, like what I've put in the chart.